Let's Make a Pizza was my idea for showing the 4 nursing concepts. This project is submitted by JustinSchroll for Nursing447 at Fort Hays State University. The 4 cornerstone concepts of nursing are the person, the health of said person, the environment in which the patient exists, as well as the nurse or nurse helping said person. As the person, we are able to choose to do what we want, think for ourselves, and go where we want. The person, as it pertains to this particular scenario, generally means a group, patient, family, or community. Health is the wellness or illness of a person. The health of a person is the collective of a person's physical, social, aesthetic, and moral existence over the span of their lives. The environment as a nursing concept is the geography in which a person exists as a national, personal, and social locations, and also can refer to the personalized relationships a person will attain, such as romantic, work, friend, or learning relationships. Lastly, nursing within the nursing concept is an academic discipline as well as a practice profession. It deals with holistic health with respect to human freedom, responsibility, and choice. The first analogy I'll start with is just making the dough. It can be a simple or complex process, as we would like to be within certain parameters. It still requires dough. It requires flour. Generally requires yeast. Sometimes can be seasoned with salt, things like that. Much like a human, we do have similarities and symptoms that coincide with one another, and we all require essential things like food, water, shelter. However, like dough, humans take time to mature and can change in sizes as well as appearance. Here I've referenced a different body types, in which I would equate like an endomorph to a person who, who holds on to weight as like a Chicago-style deep dish pizza, a mesomorph as a hand-tossed pizza, in that they can gain or lose weight easily, and lastly an ectomorph, in which they have difficulty gaining weight, similar to all those thin crust lovers out there. The next analogy to pizza I went with was toppings of the pizza and how they equate to the health of a person. With any pizza, there has to be balance of sauce, cheeses, toppings. Too much or too little of these can ruin a pizza, either by making it too saucy so the crust won't cook properly, or again, if you overload with any of the cheese or meats, a lot of times the pizza won't rise properly. I would equate exercise to the cheese and sauce of a pizza. Exercise makes us human beings more fit, in shape, and all around have better health. However, without the other toppings in our lives, we don't receive the proper enrichment we need as humans. Next up, I went with the environment, and for that I pretty much went with the cooking temperature as well as humidity within the oven. Humidity has a huge difference on how pizza cooks, as does temperature. Too much heat and the pizza burns. Too low and the dough never becomes crust. Similarly, too high of humidity and the pizza will take longer to cook, as well as too low humidity and the pizza might cook even quicker, since evaporation is a little bit quicker. Similarly, we as humans cannot be overloaded with too much stress. We need the proper amount of rest at home and safety out in the real world. We also need appropriate and deep relationships with our cohorts and spouses to lead to a rich and fulfilled life, to prevent ourselves from falling into stagnation, depression, and, according to Erickson, also despair. Lastly, I'd like to equate the nurse to a baker or chef. As a baker, we have control of all aspects of the pizza to ensure the toppings are properly balanced. The crust has the correct gluten content as well as the proper yeast breakdown of the proteins. We ensure the pizza cooks at the correct temperature in all the correct locations of the oven, and we ensure that all the toppings are in the correct places. But in similar fashion, we as nurses monitor a patient's vitals, gather labs, make sure our patient is within balance, or homeostasis rather. We teach the patient to take care of themselves upon discharge, and we help patients maintain or re-achieve baseline health. The main difference is that our patients have free will and sometimes need a little extra guidance after a mishap, whereas pizza is just pretty much delicious after you get done with it. Anyway, thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed.